I'm Lou Jaffe. I'm here to help you. Are you stuck in your position? You can't get advancement, you're not getting the promotion, you're not getting noticed? We have a program for you. It's called the One Day MBA. I want to help you think like an owner. I want to help you be that noticed person. I want to help you. So now let's talk about what we can really do for you. Over the next approximately 45 minutes, I'm going to share with you some real-time lessons. Take your time with me. Watch this, learn from this. I'm going to be giving you real value, and I'm going to be telling you what you'll get if you buy my course, but also you're going to have an opportunity at the end of this to get my book for free called the One Day MBA. So a little about me. I'm a father. I'm a former CEO. I'm a professor at a major university in Los Angeles. Also, I'm the godfather of video conferencing. I was the chairman of Benihana Corporation. I can toss about an 8 out of 10 shrimp into my hat. None of that's important, but what's really important is I've created over $1 billion in shareholder value because I know how to lead teams, I know how to get the most out of everybody, and I want to help you get the most out of what it is that you do because I want to help you be great, be free to choose where you want to go, be enabled, be empowered, and know that you are that go-to person at the office. Awesome. So let's get to it. What is so important that I want to teach you? First of all, success comes from having a plan and making the most out of the journey. And you need to understand that. So what is your plan? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be at work? Who do you want to be at life? What's truly important? Ask those questions, because if you don't have a plan, every road is going to get you there and you're not going to be happy where you end up. Make a map. I used to be a pilot. When I flew, when I took off out of Beverly, Massachusetts, I took off east, heading towards London. No matter where I was going, I was taking off into the wind, but that was part of the plan so that I could turn and head in any direction where I needed to go. You don't need to be on plan 100% of the time, but you need to be willing and flexible to create that goal. I wanted to get somewhere. I adjusted for the winds, I adjusted for the temperature, I adjusted for the amount of fuel that I had in my plane. Those are the kind of lessons I'm going to teach to you. I'm going to teach you not just business, but I'm going to teach you the language of business. I am going to teach you from my experience. I am going to show you something that you've never seen before because I'm a different kind of guru. I want to make this perfectly frank to you. There is no BS here. I want you to want to be here. If you're not motivated, if you don't have an attitude of success, please click out now. Don't stay. But if really you want to be a success, you have the energy, you have the drive, you have the desire, and most importantly, you're willing to take action. Because I'm going to ask you to buy this. Not for me, but for you. Because if you're not willing to take action, nothing great is going to happen in your life. So define, what does success mean for you? Is it more family time? Is it more money? Is it being more productive? Is it being respected? Is it being liked? Is it having the knowledge of being successful? These are your calls. But most importantly, what you're going to get here is understanding business. You're going to get over 8 hours of content. If you went to a school to get your undergraduate degree or your MBA, you're paying for a class like this in excess of $5,000. I guarantee you this will be much lower. You'll figure that out shortly. At the end of this video, I'm going to make a deal that's going to knock your socks off, and I cannot guarantee you're going to be a millionaire. Only you can guarantee that. What I'm going to guarantee is you will have all of the tools in your possession to make yourself a millionaire. So let's start with the content. First off, I call it the ecosystem of business, or what I refer to as the 7C's. There are 7 C words that are going to change your life, because you need to understand them and how they connect. Because whether you're an owner or a manager, understanding how to manage these, make room for them, and focus on them is going to cut you apart from being everybody else. You're going to be that go-to person. First off, cash. Cash is the lifeblood of an organization. Of all the C's, it is my favorite C. So we're starting off with cash. Think of it, I used the airplane analogy. The airplane analogy, cash is fuel. How much fuel do you have to get from point A to point B? You always need to understand the cash that you have and the reserves you have in the bank. Second, it's actually truly my favorite C, customers. Customers are cash waiting to happen. And in the program, I'm actually going to talk to you about two types of customers. The internal customer, those are the people you actually work with that helps you generate cash. And the external customer, the one that buys your goods and services, as well as the one that pays the bills. But focusing on the customer is so critical. It's the difference between success and failure. But as we continue on with our C's, this is the most important C. I'm serious. It's called culture. What is the culture of the organization that you are creating? The first four letters in culture are cult. What is your cult? If I tell you about somebody that works at Google, you instantly know that is one of the most innovative cults ever. If I tell you about somebody that works at SpaceX, you understand that SpaceX's cult is one of constant innovation, cutting costs, and maintaining 100% quality at all times. Learning how to create a corporate culture is so critical to what you're going to do. After we get through those C's, the only constant in life is change. So you need to understand no matter what you do in life, everything changes. Your customers change. The marketplace that you're involved with changes. Management styles change. New employees change. Change is everywhere. So the most important thing to focus on has to be 100% of the time change. Because the only thing that's constant in life are the laws of physics and the concept that everything changes. My next C is the clock. It means time, managing time. Managing time is so important because your competitors care about time. They want to get their products into the marketplace faster than you do. They want to get to your customers faster than you can. They want to make sure everything happens and they beat you to the punch because they only have one focus in life. Their focus is to eat your lunch. So if that's the case, you need to manage time. You need to manage how efficient you are and how effective you are. And there's a big difference between efficiency and effectiveness. We're going to talk about that in the program. Next up is cooperation. You don't work alone. You work with a bunch of people inside your organization. You work with a bunch of vendors. You may be working with lenders. You're working with your customers. How do you create an environment where there is cooperation? And that's a major focus. So my favorite C is cooperation because then you get the leverage out of everybody that you're working with. And after you have cooperation, what's next? Well, it's the most important C of all, communication. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use proportionately. Listen more than you talk. Learn from people on the other side of the table. If you are listening so you can figure out what your next answer is, you're making a huge mistake. You should be listening in order to take in the value so you understand what somebody else needs, what somebody else wants, and what somebody else is offering to you. So we just went through really quickly the 7C's. You've already gotten value out of this, which is why I think if you buy the program, you are going to learn so much more and you are going to jump the line. You are going to be so far ahead in your career and you are going to be that indispensable person in your organization. Folks, successful people know stuff. And I want to help you understand how to be successful and understand how to control a situation. And I'm going to use a magic trick to do that, so I hope you play along with me. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Don't tell me the number. Oh, that's right, I really can't hear you right now on the other end of the video, but that's not what's important. The important thing is you've picked a number between 1 and 10. I want you to multiply that number by 9. So now you have a new number. If you have a 1-digit number, stay where you are. If you have a 2-digit number, let's say 33, I want you to add the 2 digits together, 3 plus 3, and you're now down to 6. You have a 1-digit answer. So if you have 2 digits, add them together so you're at 1 digit. Cool, I'm assuming you're there now. What I want you to do is subtract 5 from that number. So now you have another new number, because I got to tell you, if you're going to be in business, you better be good in math. This has not been that complicated math. I want you to convert that number into its alphabetical equivalent. If you're at A, if you're at 1, it's an A. If you're at 2, it's a B. If you're at 3, it's a C, etc. So take that number that's now a letter, and I want you to think of a country in Europe that begins with that letter. Hopefully you now have that country. I want you to go to the next letter in the alphabet. So you already have a country. Now go to the next letter in the alphabet. So if you were at A, now you're at B. And I want you to think of a circus animal. So now you have a country and you have a circus animal. Well, my goal in the one-day MBA program is that you are going to get more practical lessons than you will find elephants in Denmark. Now that's a pretty cool trick. Hopefully you had elephants in Denmark. Occasionally I get an emu in Deutschland, but that's the rare person. Take your elephants in Denmark and let's think about the magic trick that I just did for you. Because that magic trick is I control the situation. I know any number times 9 gives you a 2-digit number. If you add the 2 digits together, you're back at 9. I control the situation. Because as a leader, we're going to give you tools. We're going to help you understand how you can control a situation. There is a practical lesson there. Because if you can read a situation, you can control the situation, you can take people to the destination that you need to really think about. Because success is not a trick. It's learning the ecosystem. We're going to talk about that in the program. It's learning real sales techniques. It's to learn how to understand the person on the other side of the table and turn them into a buyer so they don't feel like they're being sold. We're going to talk about key performance indicators. We call them KPIs. What are the things you should really be looking at? Because we're going to separate what's important from what's interesting. Because that's where people make mistakes. They focus too much on what's interesting and not what's truly important. The goal of the one-day MBA is to put tools in your toolbox. And that's what it's really all about. So I know I'm going really fast. I'm trying to give you some real lessons, but I really want you to download the book and read the book. And what's even better is if you download this course and you watch this course, again, I can't promise you're going to be a millionaire. That's up to you. That's your attitude. That's your level of effort. The only 2 things in life you actually do control is your attitude and your effort. And if you have a great attitude and you put the right amount of effort in, great things are going to happen. But don't buy this. Don't be part of this if you're happy where you are. If you like being a cog in a wheel and you don't want to advance. If you want to be driving Uber and that's enough for you, that's great. You'll make money. This course is not for you. If you think getting rich is easy, I have news for you, it's not. But if you're smart and you do things the right way and you use the right tools, you use a screwdriver to turn in a screw, not a hammer, you'll get there faster, better, and people are going to respect you for doing it. So if you're driven, if you're open-minded and you know there's a better way and you just want to get there, you are my kind of student. I will tell you, I've had hundreds of students as a professor. I've had thousands of employees. I've made hundreds of people millionaires that have worked with me, and I can do that for you. At least I can give you the tools. The truth is, you're going to do that for yourself. So in the one-day MBA, what you're really going to get is a set of tools. It's a mindset. So here's another mindset thing that's kind of fascinating. All events are neutral. That makes absolutely no sense. But the truth of the matter is, if you're in a car accident, the event is neutral. It's a car accident. It's a thing. You can either be upset or you can say, okay, things happen. Let's get this fixed and we can move on. What is your mindset? It's not about the event. You're in a place in life where you are. It is what it is. You can either be upset and not move forward, or you can use that energy and you can really drive yourself forward, because that's what's truly important. So I want to have some common ground with you. First is Occam's razor. You may have heard of that. It's a principle in science. Occam's razor says the simplest answer is most often right. If you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. That's so important. That's so important in business. That's so important in life. So you see, you're getting value from this program. Imagine the value you're going to get from the bigger program. But we're going to keep going. Business does not need to be complicated. It really doesn't. The truth of the matter is, it's your customer that can be complicated because they have that permission, because they're going to be giving you money. It's not your job to be complicated. Your job is, how do you make it easier for the customer to do business with you? That is a mindset. How do you get that customer to want to come to you, to trust you, to know who you are? Don't make it difficult. We talk in the internet age about user experience. User experience is not just on the internet, folks. It's everything you do. Do you provide a great experience and an easy experience for the people you do business with? And we're going to give you specific tools to do that. And remember, a company needs to be moving forward every single day, or it's going backwards. Your competitors have one focus: eat your lunch. The people that you work with, they want that promotion. How do you become that go-to person? How do you become indispensable? We're going to talk about during the program. Everything is sales. Get over it. As a CEO, I had to sell my investors on why they should buy the stock. I had to sell my customers on why they had to buy the product. I had to sell my team members why they needed to come to work every single day. I had to sell my lenders on why they should lend to me and why they should trust us. Everything is sales. It's part of life. Think about it. When you meet new people and you want them to be your friend, aren't you selling them on what an awesome experience it's going to be to have you in their lives? These are the kind of things we're going to talk about. It's not just the tools, it's not just the specifics. It's not how do you read a balance sheet or what's going on in the P&L. It's so much more than that. It's a mindset, it's an attitude, it's a way you think. Think like a CEO. We're going to so much talk about that during the semester, or I should say during the class. It's so important to understand people. You need to understand the people on the other side of the table. Doesn't matter, I'm from Boston, doesn't matter how wicked awesome I think I am, it matters how wicked awesome you think I am. Taking this course, you're going to be learning from a very successful business person, and I have gotten some amazing business people that are friends of mine to come talk to you, to give you their perspective, because we have one goal in life, and our goal in life is to put tools in your toolbox so that when you take this program, you will never be the same. You will be better every single day. You will be empowered to take control of your life, to take control of your career, and most importantly, you will know how to achieve the goals that are in your mind. As I told you, everything is a choice, and that choice is yours. You can choose to stop watching this video. That's your choice. Do you really think great things are going to happen? Think about, they say that Albert Einstein once said the definition of insanity is doing things the same way and expecting a new outcome. Well, here's a moment in time you can do something different. You can buy a program, you can take a program from someone that's been there, that's dedicated to being of service, to helping you be successful. That's my goal, that's where we're at. Okay? I keep saying all events are neutral. What does that have to do with leadership? It has everything to do with leadership, because people are looking at you. They're looking for how you act, how you react, how you behave. They're looking for you to be that anchor that says everything is going to be fine. They're looking at you for that advice. Here's a set of options and we can take any one of these. Let's talk about that. So it's not the event, it is what you do with it. And I want to put tools in your toolbox, and I keep saying it over and over again because it's so important. If you feel like you've seen it before, you will have a comfort level to go do something. And we're going to give you examples. I'm going to share examples from my life, and my friends that came to share time with you, they're going to share time with you from their advice. Here's another platitude, as it were. All businesses are the same. You may be wondering, well, I'm in retail, or I'm in healthcare, or I'm in biotech, or Lou, you come out of video conferencing, you're a high-tech guy. What do you know about me? Well, here's the deal. All businesses are the same. And if you don't believe me, here's why they're all the same. They were created to gain and retain customers profitably in order to create value. If you take nothing out of this free webinar, remember that one statement: gain and retain customers profitably in order to create value. And there's a difference. Gaining customers, everybody talks about how hard it is to get a customer. Well, let me tell you something. What's way more painful is if you lose a customer. If you have a satisfied customer, maybe they tell 2 people, maybe they tell 3. If you have an unhappy customer, they tell everybody. So it's gain and retain. And I am proud of the P word, profitable. Why do you want to be in business? To lose money? That just means you're going to go bankrupt and you're going to be really tired. You need to gain and retain customers profitably. So you need to show them why you're important. You need to show them why you're adding value to their life, and that's their job, is to add value to you and your company to create shareholder value. And here's the golden rule of business. If you run out of sales, it will be a slow, painful death. If you run out of cash, the death will be quicker. I keep throwing the word success around. Success is so critical, but I want to talk about success of the business, not just a success for you. So I'm going to share with you what I call the 5 attributes of success, and this is true for a startup, it is true for a well-run company, and it's true if you get involved in a distressed company. Number 1, you need to have an executable plan. What do I mean by an executable plan? Well, if you've invented the transporter, it's not going to work because Scotty hasn't been born yet. You need to make something that can actually happen. If you don't have the core competence and you don't understand what you're doing, how can you possibly have an executable plan? So first and foremost, you need to have a plan. After you have a plan, you need sufficient liquidity to fund the plan. Those of you that have ever built a house, you know it takes twice as long and costs twice as much. So you need to have sufficient liquidity. If you're in the startup world though, you may be able to barter. You may be able to say to somebody, I'm going to give you a piece of my business. So liquidity doesn't necessarily mean cash 100% of the time. Liquidity means access to other things. So you need to be able to get the elements that you need to get, whether it be in people. You may, as a startup, once again, give equity to get people to do work, not for cash, but for equity. But you need some sort of liquidity, which can be equity, it can be product, it can be services, it can be anything. Once you have the plan and you know you can fund the plan, you need a team. Let me tell you something. Your job is to build a team no matter where you are, because people build businesses. And if you have a great team that is supporting you, and I have been so blessed in my career by being surrounded by so many amazing people, and they're successful in their own right, it's unbelievable. It's something I'm proud of. But you need to have a team. You need to have a management team, and you need to have workers, and not too many of one or too many of the other. It's a balance. But your team needs to be focused on execution. What is it that they need to do? Which means you have the power of one of the C's. The communication C. You need to communicate to people what they need to do. You need people that are dedicated. If you don't give them a compelling reason to follow you, why are they going to follow you? So you need to help them be dedicated to what it is that you're going to do, and you have that special tool of communication. You need a product or a service that the marketplace needs or wants. For example, you may be a brilliant engineer and you've invented the next greatest buggy whip. It is an amazing buggy whip. It gets horses to go just a little bit faster, just a little bit farther, and yet at the same time it protects the horse. No harm was done to the animal in the filming of this movie. It's a great buggy whip. But guess what? There's not enough buggies for you to sell enough buggy whips to be successful. So you need to make sure that you have what I call a product market fit. Is there enough people out there to buy what it is that you have, that you can build a business around? And last but not least, you need a supportive community. You need customers that are willing to buy. You need vendors that are willing to supply. You need people willing to invest. So if you put those 5 attributes together and you understand, again, business is an ecosystem. It's never one thing. You need to have the plan, you need to have the liquidity, you need to have the team, you need to have the product or service, and you need to have the community. And understanding that mindset will set you apart from most of the other people at the office, and it'll make you think like your CEO, because your CEO goes to bed thinking about those 5 things every single night. So as we move on, I'm going to do this over and over again. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listening is part of communication. Listen to your customers. Listen to your team members. Listen to what your competitors are doing because they have a different perspective than you have. Listen, listen, listen. It's so important. But we've been taught Or we've evolved often when we're listening to reply. We're so busy thinking, well, here's the information I'm taking in. This is what I got to say back out because I'm afraid of silence. So I don't have time to process because I have to keep the conversation going. But here's the problem. The brain can only do one thing at one time. We think we're multitasking. Actually, we're not. The brain's only doing one thing at one time. It can switch back and forth between things really, really fast. Here's an example. How often have you been driving and your mind is thinking about something else, and all of a sudden you're 10 miles down the road and you didn't even know it? Because your brain was going back and forth between driving to make sure you didn't kill yourself, survival instinct, and thinking about that problem because you didn't get the Oreo cookie you were dying to get for at lunch. Listen to listen. Put your attention into the listening. Take that information in. Take a moment before you reply. Listen to understand. Take a moment to process it. And then reply with something intelligent. I was asked a long time ago, as a CEO, is it better to be liked or respected? And I answered that in less than a nanosecond. It's important to be respected. People are never going to like you 100% of the time. Get over it. But if they respect you, they'll understand why you're doing what you're doing, and they'll understand it's for the better good for everybody. So earn their respect by listening to what they have to say, thinking about it, and then replying. Again, that makes you that go-to person at the office. You become indispensable. And with those two attitudes, and that's the way that people start perceiving you, how can you think that you're not going to earn more money? How can you think you're not going to get a promotion? Because here's the real truth. In any organization, whether you're a new hire or you're there, the only reason you're there is the company has a headache and you're the aspirin. They hired you to fix their issues, to make sure everything is going forward. And the better you are at helping that company going forward, the more value you're bringing to that company, the more you're going to get paid. Communication is the key. And never forget who has the power in an organization. There's an argument that the leader has the power because the leader can always say, "You're fired." Well, to some extent that is true. But true power, number one, is taken, not given. And true power is taken by communicating to the followers so they want to be with you. So the truth of the matter is, the power is from the follower, not the leader. Because if the leader talks and nobody listens, they're not going to follow. Is that person truly a leader? So I want you to think about your communication tools to create followers. Because that's when you have power. And that comes from the ability to balance your telling and your listening. Because that's when you're not just a manager, that's when you're a leader. And leaders are valued and leaders climb the ladder. Because if you think you have the power and you're not doing the right thing by your team members, you will kill your career and you will hurt your corporation. And I've got to tell you, in my experience, the answer to problems is always really close as long as you stay open-minded. Here's a thought for you. Vulnerability is a strength. If you're not vulnerable, how can you listen to other people's ideas? Vulnerability gives you the access to multiple perspectives. If you're that tough person and you know it all, I guarantee you, I know a lot. I've been really successful. I don't know it all. I still have mentors at my age because I want to be better at what I do forever. Every day should be better than the day before. So remember, use that vulnerability to help people communicate to you and be open to their ideas. And part of communication is asking good questions. Part of communication is answering intelligently. And last but not least, be generous with your time and be generous with everything you do for your people. So far, we've covered so many things, and I know you've gotten value out of this, but I am telling you as much value as you're getting here. Download the book. Read the book. There's so much great value in the book. Better yet, take the course. If you think these 40 some odd minutes are valuable, imagine what you can get in 8 hours. It will change your life. It is so important. we're going to talk about a various set of tools. Everything from how do you manage cash. We're going to go deeper into each one of those C's. What are the tools communicate? I'm going to share with you a concept called the balanced scorecard. It's a way of focusing all of your people on what's truly important. It's a way of absolutely communicating your message, and it's a way of holding your team members accountable, but not because you're yelling at them, not because you're giving them a hard time, but it's a way for them to understand exactly what their job is, so when you're not around as their leader or their manager, they're still plowing the business forward and taking care of business the right way. We're going to talk about core competence and how important it is to you to understand your core competence, how important it is for the company to understand its core competence. We're going to talk about how do you create a mission statement and why it's so important, because that can change how people behave when you're not around. We're going to dive deep into the difference between management and leadership and creating processes so you're a sustainable organization, so not everything's one-off because you don't want to be wasting money. That's what's contained in the program. So I'm going to wrap up this webinar with a few last little things. First of all, you're always being judged. Get over it. People are always going to judge you. So you get to decide, who are you that they're judging? Are you adding value to them, or are you just about taking value out of them? Because that makes a difference. Again, one of the biggest C's, we talked about it briefly, but I want to go back to it. And that is culture. How do you lead? What is important to you? How do you share that with your team members? We go deep in the program. So here we go now, folks. I'm going to give you one more riddle. 5 frogs sat on a log. 4 decided to jump off. How many frogs remain on that log? Because I'm going to give you the answer in just a second. Here's the thing, folks. You have a choice to make right now. You can click on the button down below that downloads the book. And we're going to give you a great deal on the book. It's free. You pay a small download fee, but the book itself is free because that's my gift to you. You can choose to buy my program right now. And by the way, it's $5,000 in value. And if you buy the book right now, if you download the book right now, or if you buy the course, it is at the lowest price you will ever see. But you'll only get to see that price if you click on the button down below. You will never ever see it that low again, because you are the person I want to have. You are the person that knows how to take action. If you click on that button, you are my perfect customer. You are my perfect student. You are the type of person that knows take action now, because time is your enemy. You're managing your clock, and you're the type of person that's going for it, that's going to control their life, that's going to make great things happen. So 5 frogs sat on a log. How many decided to? 5 frogs sat on a log. 4 decided to jump off. How many frogs remain on the log? 5. Deciding to jump and jumping are rarely related. Let me help you gain the tools you need to be successful. Click on that button down below. Get into the program, the one-day MBA. Again, it will change your life. It's your call. You get to do it, but buy today, and it's the best price you'll ever get. Thank you so much for watching this. I certainly hope you stayed to the end. Clearly, if you're watching it, you did. And again, my name's Lou Jaffe, and I am here to help you. Thank you.